Hello and thank you for downloading this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. Before we start the show tonight, we wanted to give everybody a word of warning that each episode produced by Movie Guys Podcast is for a mature audience. You have been warned. Also, all of our reviews are spoiler filled. So if you have not seen the film that we're going to talk about tonight, turn off the show and come back when you're ready to listen. Thank you so much for downloading, and we hope you enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another awesome episode of Movie Guys Podcast. And tonight, we are discussing It, Chapter 2. I'm Jordan. I'm joined here, like always, with Ryan and Ed. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, boys. It's good to be back. It's been a little while, so I'm excited.
It has been a while here, and we're excited to talk about It Chapter 2. I have a lot to say about this movie. I don't know if Ryan and Ed, you do, but this was like one of the movies of the year for me. I was hyped the fuck up to see this movie. Were you guys either? Ryan, were you like ecstatic at all?
Well, this is one of the most anticipated movies for me this year, just because I wanted to see how they were going to finish it.
Honestly, no. I was not looking forward to it. Outside of, just how good I felt about the first one in some ways, as opposed to others. But I was afraid that they were going to find ways to screw this movie up. So no, I wasn't excited about it.
You were not excited. I mean, were you not excited because of what you read in the book? Were you not excited because of what happened in the 1990 TV version? Like, just because?
No, it was just, to me, it was more along the lines of the fact that they were going to split it up this way. I was afraid that they were going to do something a disservice. Not necessarily do the book a disservice, but find ways to do what a lot of second runs do and a lot of sequels do, and which is ruin what was great about the first one. I'm not saying they did that. What I'm saying is that was what I was afraid of.
What about you, Ryan? What do you say on that one?
I mean, it's very valid. The first movie was a runaway, unexpected success. So you could imagine that the next one is gonna, have an exponentially larger budget, but the studio is gonna want more control over it. I think they didn't. I mean, they gave them a shit ton more money. It's very obvious they have so much more money now.
70 million. 70 million. Sorry to interrupt you.
And, yeah, well, I read it was anywhere between 65 and 80 million. The first one was only 20 million.
Yeah.
So it's a huge jump comparatively. But I mean, I feel like they gave Andy Muschietti free reign.
They did, unfortunately. I'm not showing my hand on that. That doesn't mean that's my overall popcorn rating. But I feel that Muschietti, right? Muschietti?
I think it's Muschietti. Yeah.
Muschietti? Okay.
Yeah.
Muschietti. I think he needed to be controlled a little bit like he was in part one. I think when he got the reins to do what he wanted, he kind of George Lucased it in the prequels. You know what I mean? Like, I think he went too above.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that is I don't know. I get a little kind of bothered when people try to compare things to the prequel trilogy, because at that point George Lucas was considered a god. He could do no wrong. Because people forget about Howard the Duck and Radioland Murders. People forget about those because Star Wars is such a cultural touchstone for that generation. When it came to making the new movies, they thought they were going to get that gold. And so I'm not going to say I don't believe in any stretch that he George Lucas. I think that they gave a director who has a voice and has a vision more money than he's ever had to complete that vision. And we just got someone who had all this money and could do almost anything he wanted. And yeah.
All right, fine. I mean, fair enough. I'm going to disagree, but fair enough. So the movie opens with the death of Adrian, when we get a gay bash. That's what this is. So I'm just gonna plant the seed out here. I'm gonna show the scene, and then we're gonna talk about it. And what I mean is that in part one, we get the Georgie kill. Great kill, right? Great opening. It gets you right into the movie, right? In this one, we get the Adrian kill. I thought the setup was nice. And then after the gay bash, and they throw him into the river, it took me out for a minute because I'm thinking to myself, okay, there's Pennywise over there. Hey, come here, I'm going to help you. Fucking with the guy, essentially. That's not his MO. Adrian is not a kid.
Right.
And the whole point was when you're an adult, you don't see it. A la Beverly's dad not seeing all the blood in the bathroom because his imagination or whatever, right? So why does Pennywise go after Adrian? Now, I know he does in the book, but let's just forget about the book for the rest of this review if we can. It's out the window. We're reviewing the movie. Why does Pennywise do this? Anybody want to chime in on that?
Ed, do you have a theory?
No idea.
Okay.
No, I have no idea, other than the fact that maybe because he's woken up for the first time in 27 years, that he needs to just feed on the first thing that he sees. And then and only then can he start to feed on the imagination of children after he has some level of sustenance to him. That's just an out there theory. I have no proof of this, but just a thought.
Brian, go ahead.
So my opinion on it is that Pennywise is Derry. He is infected and permeated through every facet of Derry. He feeds on fear. And it's easier to make children afraid of you than it is to make adults afraid of you. And so they see it, and it comes out at this moment because these two gay guys, as you put it, Jordan, experienced a gay bash.
That is a gay bash. That's what it was.
It's a gay bash, yeah. And they, the one guy, I don't remember his name, the one that's not Adrian, he is fearful for his life and Adrian's life. And Pennywise is representative because the fear he experiences is the fear of the town, because they mentioned something beforehand about, like, getting out of this town, they don't belong here and things like that. So that's why they see Pennywise, because the fear is so palpable in that moment for them about Derry that it's very easy for him to take them. Well, to take Adrian.
I'm not going to chime in the whole episode about this opening, but there is a fan theory that I read, and I wanted to share it to you guys, and we can go on the rest of the movie. That kid that started the homophobic slurs against Adrian and his boyfriend is actually Pennywise. That's a fan theory. That's not proven. It's just Pennywise can morph into whatever it wants to, and it wanted to feed, kind of like Ed's theory. It picked on these guys because they were easy prey for whatever fucking reason, and that kid was Pennywise to provoke the instance that happened.
Plausible.
No? Okay. All right, cheers. All right, so now we get into, it's been 27 years later. The losers have all left Derry besides Mike. And every loser besides Mike doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know their past. It's kind of blurry. Before I continue, wouldn't you guys kind of be a little fucked up like that a little bit? Like, think about it. Like, you're grown adults and you have a big blip of your childhood that you cannot remember at all. Wouldn't you kind of wonder what the fuck happened?
I mean, if you never think about it, it's never a problem.
Right? I mean, but it's like, hey, there's a huge scar in the palm of my hand. Because if you noticed, like when Mike called all of them and said, hey, we got to come back to Derry, that's when they all looked at their hand. So it's like, why? I don't understand it. I don't understand. Is it because Pennywise has such a myth over Derry that once you leave, you forget?
Well,
I mean,
I know you said
theoretically speaking, yeah.
you didn't want to keep bringing up the book, but that is one of the explanations in that in order to try to keep them away from Derry, he has somehow in some way influenced all the ones that left. So they're all successful. They're all rich, or not rich. They're all well-to-do, and they have, they are happy with their station in life to a certain degree. There are things you can't escape, like the violence Bev experiences with men is cyclical, based on her relationship with her father and things like that. But he somehow, in some way, influenced their lives to such a degree that he would expect them to never want to come back, and that forgetting Derry was not an issue because they outside of the club, the Losers Club, the memories of Derry aren't that great.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Ed, is there an actor that plays the kids that's now an adult now that you absolutely loved? And also, is there one that you just did not like at all? Which adult version?
So you're saying, like, do I like Bill Hader or James McAvoy, or are you asking, okay. Well, I mean, look, Jessica Chastain is a good actress. James McAvoy is great. Bill Hader is fantastic. The three of them are great actors in their own rights. I mean, I'd have to say that I probably liked James McAvoy the best as
really?
Bill. Yeah. Just simply because he's so good, and he has that stutter down pat. I can't say that I necessarily liked how they chose to portray them grown up. But, answering it within the frame of the question, of all of them, I mean, I think James McAvoy was the best. And the guy who played Mike, I think I more felt like he was trying to play John Boyega playing Mike for whatever reason.
Interesting. You see, I'm going to totally disagree and say that James McAvoy was one of the weaker of the characters, and I think Bill Hader knocked it out of the park. And I thought the guy who played Eddie was absolutely amazing. I didn't think Bill Hader had not Bill Hader. I didn't think James McAvoy did a very good on the stuttering. And also, if you want to go to the comparisons of it, he's like one of the adults that look farthest from the fucking kids, of what he was when he was a kid. And it's like, I just, don't like it. Ryan, what about you? Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite?
Well, see, and it gets to like when we get into like the deeper, meatier stuff. I don't think they give like Bill Hader's. I think in terms of like acting, I think he does the best, but they don't really give them much to do. Like each of the adults have like one thing, that they're dealing with throughout the movie, and like it's outside of the flashbacks to when they're younger, when they're kids again. It's just like there's not really much development. It's all just plot beat, flashback, plot beat, all from beginning to end. And it has a very strict 3-act structure. And like I did not care much for Isaiah Mustafa, who plays Mike Hanlon. Just I don't know, and it's not completely his fault. It is a combination of his interpretation of the script and the director's interpretation of the script and how he's being directed to act. But I think it comes across, I guess, false to me feeling because like I never pictured Mike being needy. Like he's needy and desperate for
That's what Ben is. That's what Ben is.
I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I don't know what you mean.
Are you talking about in the book or in the movie?
In the movie, you're right. That's why I didn't interrupt you. But you said you didn't picture Mike to be needy, and I feel that was Ben, because Ben in the first movie in chapter 1 was all about the history of Derry, and his room was cluttered with all the history of Derry. So it would make sense for them to retcon it and have Ben stay there and be the librarian and be obsessive and be needy like he currently is in chapter 1, right? This makes no sense for Mike.
Well, I mean, it does. Yes, to have strict continuity from chapter 1 to chapter 2, it would make more sense to have Ben be the one stay behind. But you're only using the fact that in the first movie he was the one that looked into the history of Derry for the Losers Club. excuse me 1 second, sorry. You're only looking into that, using that story aspect to carry it on to the second one. However, if you want to look at the world they live in, Ben lives with a single mom, and they moved there recently, so he doesn't have ties to Derry, and they have the ability to move whenever. Whereas Mike is stuck with the poor family on the outskirts of town. So it's like of the entire group, logically, Mike would be the one to stay behind because he doesn't have the advantage. Like Bill's family is well to do. His dad works for the town. They have a really nice house. Like I said, Ben's family can move as they wish. At the end of the first one, Bev moves away. She says she's going to stay with her cousin or someone somewhere in some other town. And so it makes, logically, it would follow that Mike would be the one to stay. But if you want to have strict continuity, it would make more sense for Ben to stay.
Okay. All right. Fine. Fair enough. I just found it interesting how they were, because the way that they did it. One of the things I don't like about the movie is that they didn't add anything too ridiculously new. You know what I'm saying, guys? I mean, like, I was worried. I was like, are they gonna do the fucking turtle, which is in the book? But I'm just like, what are they gonna fucking do? And what we do get is one of the iconic scenes from the original movie, which I don't know why I'm saying iconic, but it's the Chinese restaurant scene. Ed, what do you think of all those little creatures and those bugs coming out of the food? What do you think about that?
It was extremely creepy. Much like most of the scares in this movie, it was incredibly creepy and cerebral. And, one of everybody's sort of pet peeves when it comes to a Chinese restaurant is the potential levels of grossness and bugs. So it just added to my... No, you've never been to like a little Chinese restaurant in a little town that isn't as clean as it should be. Like that's half the Chinese restaurants here in town.
Yeah, but this Chinese restaurant looks like legit though, bro.
Yeah, and while that's true, it's still like maybe it's just a personal thing that like I've had some bugs in food like at places. And sure. I don't do buffets at all. So when you go to a Chinese restaurant, to me, like that's like the ultimate level of grossness.
Okay.
So maybe it's just a personal thing. Not that there's anything. I'm not talking about Chinese people. That has nothing to do with it. I'm saying like buffet restaurants, cheap food, people like picking boogers, and they have bugs on their skin, and they walk into this restaurant and then they touch the tongs.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me.
Ryan, what'd you think of the scene?
I mean, I thought it was serviceable. I like the designs of the monsters. I like the joke at the end when Mike is slamming his chair on top of everything, saying, "This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real." And the lady just comes in. Is everything okay?
Yeah. No. It's good.
But I mean, overall, it's like a lot of the things. I liked that scene when they're remembering things. I felt in that moment there is a unity and there's a bond between all these characters. I felt that. Yeah, in the Chinese restaurant where they're like sharing memories and stuff, and they're picking at each other and things. It's like they were acting like old friends. Like they were acting like how me and my friends act when we haven't seen each other for months and months. When we finally get together.
Right.
But again, when they separate. And it'd be like the second act where they're all on their own, they're finding their totems. The movie slows way down. And I think the movie's only great to a certain extent in that scene, some of the flashbacks. And I will get to the ending too, but I feel like, there's issues with the ending as well, like the third act.
There's a lot of issues with the ending.
I just want to add real quick just to the ending part. They tell you several times in this movie that they don't know how to end it by making fun of Bill and him being a writer. That like the best book he ever did, he didn't know how to end it. Everybody loved everything. They just didn't know how to end it. Like they're telling you, we don't know how to end this movie. You're probably not going to like it.
Actually, I'm going to be that asshole, Ed. You know why that's in the movie?
Well, I'm sure it's in the book, but I feel like they pointed to it several times.
That's what Stephen King is known for in reality. Stephen King is known for not having great endings. So people have said, and Stephen King has hinted in interviews, that in the book, Bill is based off of him.
Oh, really?
So, and then if you go to Twitter, Stephen King even made a joke about how his books have terrible endings. That's why they did that. It was a fun little wink, wink, nod, nod to Stephen King. That's why they did it that way. Because if you ever got a chance to read the ending of the book, it is god awful, like a lot of his books, and that's just kind of the joke.
You mean like the Langoliers, where they get in the plane and turn around time?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah, that's just kind of the joke. Okay, so we get a task. I can't believe they're going to do this. So my wife are in the movie theater, and Mike says, "Hey, Bill, drink some of this." And Bill's like, "Okay." And I'm looking at Gina, and I'm like, "Oh, Mike drugged him." She's like, "Why would he do that? He's his friend." And then we get the Ritual of Chud, which I know I'm contradicting myself when I'm saying from the book and blah, blah. Ryan, are you really doing the Ritual of Chud in this? I was absolutely shocked. I was waiting for a turtle. This is a fucked up thing in the book. We find out everything about Pennywise in the book from the Ritual of Chud. Why are we doing it in this movie? Why does it have to be in this movie? Ryan, I'm asking you, why is that? Because I don't think you're right.
Why does the Ritual of Chud have to be in the movie?
Why does it have to be in the fucking... I mean, why did they have to do this?
I'm not exactly sure why they felt the need to put it in the second one if they weren't going to include it in the first one. The only reason I can think of it is it's in the book, and it gives them, at least when that first came up in the movie, I thought they were going to actually do the ritual that's in the book, and I was kind of excited and I was waiting for it because in the book it is basically, if I'm accurately remembering it, it's a battle of wills, essentially. Young Bill did it way back when, and he narrowly won. But he didn't kill or defeat Pennywise. He just won the test of wills. So in the second movie, he has to do it again, and that's where you like stare into the deadlights. It's kind of basically how Richie when at the end when he's about to throw the rock and then he just like kind of goes limp while still standing there, his eyes roll back in his head, and like it's like a mental battle. And then when he's younger, he sees Bill sees the turtle during the ritual and all this stuff, and I was kind of excited for what the visual representation of that was going to be, because I have a visual in my head. Obviously, the director is going to have a wildly different vision in his head, and then they ultimately don't do that. They just like turn into this Indian thing because Native Americans are magic and all that nonsense. I was very let down because it was one of the things I was looking forward to throughout the rest of the whole movie, and like I said, issues with the third act, I was incredibly let down.
I agree. I actually totally agree. So we get Pennywise and a couple of kills here. Pennywise is not in this movie that much. Definitely in love with him, like I was with Bill Skarsgård playing him in the last movie. It's a different Pennywise here, though. I mean, this Pennywise is out for revenge because in part one, you can tell that he's comfortable in his own skin, if you will. He likes to play with his food, more. Now he seems like a Pennywise that is out for revenge, a broken, battered Pennywise. After the Adrian kill, his next kill is a little girl underneath the bleachers. What a creepy ass kill. Ed, what do you think of that kill?
Repeat that, I'm sorry?
The little girl underneath the bleachers?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first creepy kill for me in the movie. And I have a hard time, like I've said, watching kids get, and I said this about the first movie, I have a hard time watching kids get hurt on any level. So I have a dislike for it for that simple reason. But that doesn't mean it's not a good kill in relation to the story. I just really wish that they would have explained or found some of these other things, because there's a lot in this movie that doesn't get explained, including why he kills who he kills, why children specifically. And yeah, we talked about it. I just have a hard time with it. So like legitimately so bad.
Well, that's what they said in the first movie, is that the reason why he goes after kids is because he said it himself, is that because they stink of fear, and the fear is like veal compared to a steak. It's just something that tastes better to him, because he can kill anything he wants, but he prefers the fear and the taste of children with it. I actually felt really scared for that little girl. I was hoping that little girl wasn't going to get it. She had a birthmark on her face, and Pennywise is like, I'm just going to go poof, and it's going to come off your face. And I mean, my God, like, brutal kill. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on that kill? Because I felt bad for that little girl. I was like, shit.
Well, see, I liked how it was visually set up with she's walking under the bleachers, and how she's positioned versus how Pennywise is positioned. There's a nice distance between her and then the people that are there, that you can see at the end of the bleachers. So like, she's surrounded. In our minds, we know that people are there. However, how it is presented to us, when you buy into it, you believe that even though she should be safe, she is in a crowded facility. People are all around her. It's very easy to get taken.
Ryan, is it the chapter 1 of chapter 2 a subplot for children's sexual abuse?
I mean, you could argue that. I mean, the first one obviously is a coming of age story. Like, it's presented as a teen coming of age, where you experience your first loss, first love, all that stuff, all that goes with the coming of age stories. But you can say that I mean, there is evidence for it, but I'm not gonna go ahead and agree with it, because I think that's reading too much into it.
Okay,
I think it is just about facing, growing up and facing your fears.
Okay. Okay, I will go with you on that one. I was just curious what you thought, because I kind of felt that a little bit watching this movie. Let's move along here real quick to the old lady scare. The first teaser that was released for chapter 2, when Beverly decides to go to her old apartment with her dad, and there's an old lady there. This is the scene of the movie for me. I don't know if you guys are on the same page with me or not, but this brought me back to Pennywise in chapter 1. Pennywise is, disguised himself as an old lady. Every time her back is turned, in the background, there's the old lady just staring, walking creepily behind the background. Fucking intense scene. Do you guys share my opinion on that? That was an intense fucking scene.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you can see it coming. They don't hide the fact that they're going to give you a nice scare. The giant old lady with her old flopping boobs, like, just all over the place.
That was fucking scary. That was terrifying.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was the one thing where there was a jump for me in this entire movie. But yeah, I agree with you. It was a great scene in the movie.
Ryan, how about you, man?
I mean, I like the scene. I think they kind of undermine some things with their characterization of it. He, because he's a clown, he's mocking the adults. I get that, but when they have the old lady do like a little dance as she's running away, or as she's scurrying across the door frame, it kind of undermines the tension a little bit. But
really, I think it makes it worse.
See, and Elise, my wife, when we talked about it, because we watched the movie together, she thought that added to the creepiness. I felt that it kind of detracted. However, I still liked the scene because they still do build up the tension. It's classic tension building throughout that entire scene, and the shot when Pennywise, as the old lady with the big floppy boobs, as Ed eloquently put it, comes rushing out of the darkness. That's a good visual. This movie's filled with great visuals, and the bit where when she's at the door and she turns around and Pennywise is as the human version, and he's putting on the makeup and telling her, she's gonna regret it. She better run, all this stuff. And then he claws the smile onto his face. I thought that was perfection.
Yeah, see, okay, so I'm confused. Is this Pennywise fucking with us? Or that picture that Beverly sees, is that legitimately some guy that Pennywise just took a form of? I mean, and did we see him as a human form? So are they implying that this guy actually exists and Pennywise has just taken his form? Or was those just there to fuck with Beverly? Anybody?
Good question. That's a good question. I have no idea.
I think it's just there to fuck with him.
It's just there to fuck with him. Okay.
Just there to fuck, because he's playing on father issues, because the lady talks about her father and all this stuff, how he's a hard man and things like that. So he's just fucking with Beverly at that point.
Okay. All right. Great scene. Really fucking enjoyed the scene a lot. I was impressed, and I was in it hook, line, and sinker. Just absolutely into it. So the next thing I want to talk about is Henry Bowers. So the 1990 TV miniseries, well, 2-night special movie, Henry Bowers was absolutely terrifying to me, as he should be. So then in part 2, well, night 2 of the original 1990 movie, he was non-existent, just not cool. I don't care about him. So I was hoping that they would do something more with Henry Bowers in this movie, and we pretty much got the same thing. I was disappointed. Ryan, were you disappointed? Ed, you guys disappointed at all with Henry Bowers in this movie at all?
No, absolutely not. I really liked. I like the guy. He laughs the entire time, but he's got a great maniacal laugh. I don't believe the guy's insane. It's very obvious he's acting, but I don't know. It was fun watching the guy play Henry Bowers, especially there are parts. One of the things I don't like about Eddie is how he always has the character. Eddie always seems to have a comment when a situation doesn't need to have a comment. But I think it's funny because Henry Bowers still has a mullet 30 years later. Like, they let him keep the mullet, and that was a funny joke.
Mullets are coming back, so
Mullets are not coming back. They
are
tried it.
coming back.
They tried it when we were kids. There was a TV show on UPN called The Mullets, and it lasted 4 episodes. All right? It's not gonna happen.
Evidently, you don't have TikTok, sir. And there's a whole mullet trend. We're not getting into this. Ed, how about you? Did you like Henry Bowers?
Just on that point, if you guys think that mullets aren't coming back, then you have not seen Wisconsin high school hockey, because that's the number one thing that they do. Or Minnesota, excuse me, is they have a mullet off in for that. No, I mean, the thing is like it seemed like the character itself was a good character. It just is dumb here. Like, it doesn't, like, I get that he's been insane for 27 years. I get that he sees the balloon and he self-validates, but at the same time, for me, I just didn't care. I did not care one bit about that character, or that moment there.
Now, if I were okay, guys, go with me on this. I want to hear your honest opinion, since I made it clear that I did not like the Adrian kill in the beginning because it was different, and it was because it was not Pennywise's MO. I think this should have been the opening of the movie, and what I mean by that is that the opening of It Chapter 1 was hardly any credits, just little credits here and there. But when the kill happened with Georgie, the camera pans around completely in a circle, and it says "It" coming out of a sewer, right? Really cool, gets me into it, right? Kind of thing. Nice visual, if you will. In this movie, this is your opening. Teenage Henry Bowers getting flushed out of the sewer with all those bodies, and then him waking up, breathing again, walking to his dad's house, getting arrested. That's the opening of this movie. I know Ryan's going to completely say I'm crazy. So Ryan, tell me I'm crazy.
No, I think that'd be a fun thing. Like, if they had, I think the issue they had that I have with it is that transition from the current opening, the present day opening with Adrian Mellon getting killed in the gay bash, to you see like the balloons, which again, another great visual, the balloons coming out from underneath the bridge, and then it cuts to darkness and you get like that jittery shaking it screen title, and then you get the very first flashback, and I feel like that transition is jarring. I feel like if they would have opened with that flashback, and then you know went into the Adrian Mellon thing, I think it would have flowed, flown. I think it would have
It would have
moved
flown
better.
better, moved better. I mean, right? I mean, because Mike totally fucked Henry up, right? There's no way anybody would survive that fucking fall. It wasn't like Henry just fell straight down. Motherfucker hit the sides of the well. Motherfucker broke bones. You know what I mean? And it's
Mhm.
like, wow, that was brutal. Like, I even said that to Gina when we first saw the first movie 2 years ago. And if anybody wants to listen to those archives, it's on Twitter now, but go to movieguyspodcast.com and check that out. But Henry was dead. I know he comes back because the book, blah, 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 but Henry was dead. There's no way anybody could survive that fall. So it would have been better, in my opinion, if you had the opening title screen of Warner Brothers' New Line, boom, Henry getting flushed out, and spending a little bit more time with Henry getting interrogated, let's say maybe they arrest him, and then we cut to a scene of him in an interrogation room and saying, why'd you kill all these people? Because they said that they pinned all the murders that summer on Henry in the movie. So it's like, play on that more. And I don't think that Henry, who was such a douchebag character last time, he didn't get his due in this movie. I didn't feel. But who do get his due was his friend with the fucking aerosol can and the lighter. That guy was creepy. Great fucking makeup, right, Ed? Great fucking makeup. That was fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. I agree with that. 100%.
Scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh shit. Like, that was fucking great. So I'm going to jump ahead. Tell me, and I know we're talking about a movie with a killer space alien clown and turtles and all this kind of shit, but what is the blurred line between reality and not? Because Henry kills his roommate, he escapes, and the chain fence is already cut, and his friend, who has been dead for 27 years, corpse a la American Werewolf in London style, is driving the car. So is his corpse friend, Ryan, actually driving the car? Or is it Henry hallucinating? What the fuck is going on with that? Because he drives him throughout the whole rest of the film.
I mean, I would say that it is actually Pennywise driving. It could be that he has reanimated the actual corpse of Patrick Hockstetter, but I don't think it is Henry Bowers driving the car. I think that it is another force entirely.
So you got that really, really fucked up, far beyond belief, supernatural element coming into play here with that.
It's also Henry's car, not Henry's car. It's also, is it Belch Huggins? I think that's who's driving the car in the first movie. It's also the same car from the first movie, which a nice bit of continuity. When we were being introduced to the losers as adults, I thought it was great that they had the same lady who played Eddie's mom in the first movie plays Myra, Eddie's wife, in that short little bit she's in.
That is her! I knew
Yeah.
that fucking bitch was her!
Because, like, in the book, it's a big deal. Like, it's a big part of Eddie's character that he married a woman who reminds him who is exactly the same person as his mom.
That is her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so the losers rejoice. They have to go do their separate little things. One of the things I have a problem with in this movie is the clubhouse. They said that they found the clubhouse, or Ben introduced him to the clubhouse that was underground that he was building after the Rock War in the first clubhouse, which I felt meant a lot to the Losers Club. Do you think that actually should have been in the first movie? Because what a missed opportunity here, right, guys? I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me on that, but it just feels like this clubhouse should have been in chapter 1.
Oh, it definitely should have.
Yeah.
But the importance, again, going back to the book, the importance of the clubhouse is when they first do. So I do believe it's Mike who discovers or reads about in the book this ritual. It's not the ritual of Chud, but this sort of inhalation thing, kind of what they do in the movie, where it allows them to see the past. And it's a Native American thing. And so, like I said, Indians are magic. And so in the book, they all go down there, they set this fire, and they start inhaling it and stuff. And they all start hallucinating, but it's only Mike and Ben, not Mike and Ben, it's only Mike and Bill that stay in the underground fort that see the past. So like they see Pennywise arriving, they see the crater it creates, they see the Earth reforming around it, Derry going up. They see all these things happening, and I think that's when they first encounter the turtle, when they're hallucinating.
Am I not
So
turtle enough for the Turtle Club?
Huh?
You've never seen that movie?
are you talking about Master of Disguise?
Yes.
Pistachio Disguisey, Dana Carvey's masterpiece.
Oh gosh, fantastic! Great movie. You want to talk about one of the greatest Dana Carvey's of movies? Am I like that line? He's a turtle. Like, am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? And like, yeah, I think you missed the point. But it's a great scene. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
Wow. Fun scene. Okay, so then we get who's next?
I wasn't done with my thing. I still had a thing going.
Yeah, you did. I ruined it. I interrupted.
You had a fucking thing. You had a thing.
I was explaining, I was answering your question. You just want to move on because it's long-winded. I understand, but I have a lot to say on the topic, all right? So hear me out. This bit in the book, it serves purpose so they can go back and they can hallucinate and see Pennywise's arrival, and it helps them in defeating him. Yes, I agree. It would make more sense to have this in the first movie if it's so important. But one of the main issues, one of the larger issues I had with the movie is the flashbacks. I have a hard time placing them in the timeline of the movie because they're all supposed to take place roughly around that same summer before and after Pennywise. But it's the things that happen in the flashbacks you think they would talk about in the first movie, but they don't. And that's another issue I had with the film.
I think they do, though, because there was something confusing to me in the first movie. Now, the first movie was on sale last week on Amazon Prime. I bought the first movie for $9.99, and I watched it twice. And then I went to the theater the next day to see this movie. And when they're all outside of the house, before they go to attack it the first time in the first movie, all the kids have said that they have seen a clown. But we never saw all the kids experiencing the clown. So that's what we get in this movie. We get Eddie going downstairs, and we see his mom all chained up with the leper. That was fucking crazy. That was a creepy ass scene.
Oh yeah, it was. And like he barfed in his mouth. Ugh.
And then he strangles him, and I mean, what do you guys think of the old guy, who was the creepy guy who called Beverly Lois Lane in the first movie? Now he's this creepy guy who likes to play things with his mouth. Like, what a fun actor he is. He reminds me of a great 80s Freddy Krueger kind of movie kind of guy. Just that creepy guy for no reason. And, of course, Beverly's bully is there kind of running the show with her dad. Ryan, I know that you really like that leper scene.
Oh, I love the leper. I thought that was like, because I think we talked about this before. I thought that's like the best design, like creature design in the entire movie.
Better than the old woman, huh?
Yeah, well, see, the old woman's, I don't know, it's that uncanny valley thing. There's still sort of a shimmer and a plastic feel to that because it's completely CGI, whereas the leper thing is prosthetics, I do believe, in combination with CGI, and it looks a lot better. That's my favorite like character design in the movie. I really like the design of it as the spider at the end. But yeah, I really like the leper, and I like. So another thing another issue that I had with the movie is its length. I think there are things that run on too long. I think that flashback kind of goes on a little too long. There's things that could be shortened and cut, but I like the setup. It is a super creepy setup to that scene and its execution, and I love the bit where the leper vomits on him because it feels like it's never going to end.
Oh yeah, because it did it before, and it great scene. Ed, we get a Stephen King cameo as the guy who sells silver to Bill. I was smiling ear to ear in the theater when Stephen King was in this movie. The first time ever Stephen King cameoed in his own book movie. Ed, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, did you say it was the first time? It was the only, I don't remember ever seeing him in another one of his movies before.
No. I mean, like he was in movies that he co-wrote and stuff like Creepshow. But actually, from what I could read online, Ryan, I don't know if you correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I can tell in the research I've done, this is the first time Stephen King's actually cameoed in one of his novels into a movie form. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I liked it. I didn't think he did like a shit job. I thought, like you said, if how else do I word it? Otherwise, like as soon as you see it, you catch it right away. But it was good.
Yeah, it was good. Ryan, what about you? Do you think it was throwaway? Or do you think it was fun?
I think it's fun because it's especially the setup because it's Bill, and Bill's supposed to be the conduit for Stephen King into the story, where Bill is a facsimile of Stephen King. So that's nice. I like the running joke, or I like the line he keeps saying is, "Well, you're the big time writer, you can afford it."
Yeah.
$300. Don't want to go down that route. China the neighbors built that route. God, I'm like so much happens in this movie. I'm trying to remember everything, but the Loser Club. Okay, I want to talk about one more thing before we talk about the big stuff at the end here. So there were 2 times in this movie that I laughed, which I didn't think I would laugh like this. I laughed in the first movie with Eddie and Richie and their jokes. But this movie, I laughed at the Stephen King thing because I thought it was fun. It took me out of the movie, and I just enjoyed it. The second thing was when Henry Bowers stabs Eddie in the face, and Eddie takes it like a champ. I don't know why that scene took me out of the movie, and I kind of sat up in my seat and was like, "Oh, I'm along for the ride now. This is fun." I don't know why I found that so much fun. Ryan, did you find fun with that scene where he gets stabbed in the face?
Well, see, one of the issues I have with Eddie's character is like I thought it was pretty cool that he stabs Henry through the shower curtain as a jump scare, which I'm not a fan of jump scares, but I thought it was pretty well done for what it was. But as he's like edging around Henry and sneaking out of the room, he tells him to cut his hair. Why do you still have a fucking mullet? Like those little things kind of bother me, but I thought it was a little piece because when he goes and visits the pharmacist, the guy, like, I'm pretty sure the pharmacist is jerking off behind the counter, and then he like sniffs his finger, and then he walks up to Eddie and starts like pinching his mole, and and Eddie's like, "It's a mole, it's not coming out," and like that, the mole is exactly where he gets stabbed by Henry.
Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. I didn't catch that. That's good. Ed, did you find that scene fun at all? I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I like it dragged on a little too long, but yeah, I mean, he stabs him square in the mouth, and then he takes the knife out, and it's one of those things they talk about it a little later at the end of the movie when like he's supposed to be a coward, but how he actually was the guy who stabbed him first, like how he's not a coward. So yeah, I mean, I liked it.
Okay, so then we get something I was confused with. So the trailers come out for this movie, and we see the first big trailer with the old lady, and then the actual trailer comes out a few months prior. I'm sorry, a few months afterwards, and we see Bill, James McAvoy, running in a hall of mirrors after a kid. And I was like, oh, in the book, in the original '90s movie, he didn't have a kid. Maybe Pennywise is coming after his kid. This is interesting. No, that's not it. It's just a regular kid like he was 27 years earlier, and this kid hears voices in the bathtub drain, sometimes a clown laughing, and he goes to the carnival, and Pennywise has his next meal. That's a great kill. The long tongue, the banging of the head against the glass, and then you get the bloody kill at the end. I couldn't watch the movie. There are 2 instances in the movie to where the flashing lights, which never happened to me before, got me. This made my head hurt. It really split my head, so I watched as much as I could. But what I saw was really great. Ryan, Ed, what do you guys feel about this kill here? Ed, I'll go with you first because I've asked Ed, Ryan a few questions about it. What do you feel about this kill? Was this kill really good in your opinion?
There's, you know what, honestly, other than like watching some of the hard personal parts with like watching the kids, there's not a single bad kill. They're all really good kills. So, I mean, I hate to answer in such a generic way, but I'm going to say yes to that on every time you ask about one of the kills. They're just that good.
All right, fair enough. Ryan, how about you? What do you think of the Hall of Mirrors kill?
It's the best one in the entire movie. Visually, again, this movie is full of just wonderful visuals. The like how the film or how the scene is presented when he enters the fun house, the isolation that when they get to the Hall of Mirrors, or not mirrors, the hall, like the glass, and how I was sort of trapped in it. The thing that and then I liked the Pennywise smashing his head repeatedly on the thing until he kills the kid. But again, the issue I had, and it's like the running theme of this whole movie, I'm realizing, is that a lot of the scenes don't really add up to much, or like I don't really give 2 shits about the content of the scene, if for the most part, because I don't understand, like, the importance of that kid is only there, is only emphasized, so it reiterates to Bill about how he let down Georgie, and that's something that could have been presented to us in a different way and would have saved 10-15 minutes of screen time. But other than that, how it appears is resplendent. I fucking loved it.
I do, and I found out that this is not the same cinematographer as it was in the first movie.
It
The
is not.
cinematographer from the first movie went out and shot Zombieland 2. So I'm assuming Zombieland 2, regardless if it's going to be a good movie or not, is probably going to look really good when it comes to just the overall look of the film. So Mike and the rest of the losers get back together, and Bill is tired of the Pennywise. He's coming after him. Now, in the book, in the original 90s movie, Pennywise kidnaps Bill's wife, Audra, and that's Bill's motivation to finally say enough's enough. But in this movie, we get the kill of the kid, and they go down to do the ritual chud. Now, my wife doesn't know the 1990s movie. She's actually never seen all of it, especially part 2, and she's never read the book. So when they're going down the sewer, yeah, Pennywise fucks with them once, with the old lady thing again. But Gina says to me, they're going down there to kill Pennywise. He knows this. She says this in the theater. Why isn't he attacking them more? And it's because, boom, spoiler, we found out that Mike pretty much lied to them because the ritual chud doesn't work. All they had to do was, according to Mike, they had to grab artifacts of something important in their life, and they all had to throw it into this little sack. And this was going to capture the deadlights, to capture Pennywise, and done. Wow. I don't like that idea at all. What about you guys? About this ritual not working. Ed, I'll go with you.
Well, I have a huge problem with it, not because the ritual didn't work and like they failed, but like immediately they're like, how do you make something really big feel really small? And it's, talk shit on it. Be a bully. Just do that. And you'll make the clown fucking turn deflated and cry, and then you'll fucking have a blood sport moment when you get to pull his heart out. Okay? Like that's, or whatever the hell movie that was. So, no, I didn't like it, but not for the reasons you prefaced. but for the reason I explained.
Ryan, how about you?
I'll agree with Ed on this one. I think it kind of defeats, like, it helps enhance Mike's character in that, and it plays into his desperation because his whole thing is they didn't kill it back then when they performed the ritual because they didn't believe they could kill him, but the losers believe they can kill it, and that was going to be the difference. But then that happens, and then like 15 minutes later, after a bunch of other somewhat nonsense, they just say you make them small. That's how you do it. That's how you kill them. So like it doesn't really. It just adds more time, really, to the. This movie, guys, is almost as long as The Godfather.
Yeah.
Almost as
I
long
want to
as
point that
Titanic.
out.
Almost
And
as long as
The Godfather is the greatest movie of all time. So
Godfather, Titanic, and Endgame. Like, okay, if you're not gonna do the turtle, right? If you're gonna say fuck that, we're not gonna do the turtle, then why do the spider? He looked like the bad guy from the end of Wreck-It Ralph with half spider belly. I mean, it looked bad. It looked really, really bad. If you're not gonna do the turtle, don't do the spider. Just have them fight Pennywise. Or make Pennywise grow big without spider legs. He grew big in the first movie when they were watching him on the projector screen. Like, why the spider? It was just so visual. It took me out of it. I was like, oh my God, this is sickening. I was just so disgusted with that spider. I mean, do you guys share my opinion on the spider?
I liked it.
Interesting.
I mean, to say I liked it too, but it was dumb. Like it just none of it felt relevant. The thing that made the first movie feel great for me was that I had to watch something completely stupid after watching the first one so that I got my mind out of that movie. It was so cerebral, so I didn't like have nightmares when I went to sleep. And the scariest parts about this movie to me were the parts that were kind of freaky, specifically related to Pennywise. But a giant spider, like, I feel like talking about it is the equivalent of Kevin Smith talking about Michael Bay movies.
Nice.
Like, it's just, why do we need a giant spider Pennywise? I mean, I get that it's in the book, blah, 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 blah. But from a filmmaking perspective, I just didn't care. Like, or film watcher perspective, I didn't care. I'm sorry.
Sure. So we get the sacrifice. Beverly tells Eddie earlier on that that the spear is for killing monsters to give him strength. He tries to kill Pennywise. He doesn't. Pennywise stabs him with one of his spider legs, and Eddie is down for the count. They eventually figure out that all you got to do is be a bully, cuss at it, and it turns into this pathetic, weak little thing. They take its heart out, right? And then Eddie dies. And they go back to the quarry where they were in the first movie to do their one last swim. And Bill is so heartbroken over this. And then we get some twist.
It's Richie.
Richie, sorry. So we get some twist at the end of this movie. Richie's gay?
Yeah, they set that up when he goes back to get his totem.
Why is Richie gay? There's no reason for Richie to be gay. He goes back to the bridge, and we see an E plus R. So Richie, was he gay with Eddie? Or did he just have feelings for Eddie? Did Eddie feel the same way? Like, why does this character need to be gay? It makes no sense for the storytelling part.
But I mean, sexual orientation has no relation in any direction either. So him being gay is irrelevant. Him being straight's irrelevant.
Exactly.
I mean,
so why do you do it? Why?
Because it gives you it gives you the answer to the secret that Pennywise said he knew about him. So that's they answered the question. What was the secret? Oh, they were in love.
Were they in love, or was Richie in love? Ryan, what do you say on that?
So, as I said at the beginning, they give the adults very little to do. Even a lot of the emotion, a lot of the character building comes through in the flashbacks when they encounter Pennywise or when they're bullshitting around in the fort. This is Richie's thing. So like Bill's thing is he's guilty about what he did. He's guilty about letting Georgie die. Beverly, she's still fighting off the ghost of her past. Ben, he's buried. I'm assuming the metaphor because he gets buried by Pennywise in the fort. He's buried under, whatever love that he has for Beverly that he can't let go. Eddie has to overcome his fear. It's shown twice, I think, or 3 times in the movie before he dies. And Richie is that he's gay. And so everyone gets their one thing that they have to combat, and that's just why they did it. I feel just to give him something.
I guess it just doesn't do anything to the story. Doesn't do anything to the plot.
I don't think it adds anything positive or negative, but I don't.
That's what I'm saying. Is this doesn't need. I mean, Ed's right. Who cares about a character's sexual orientation? Ed's 100% right. Who cares? But it just doesn't make sense for the story, and it adds something to the character that didn't need to be added because who cares? That was just kind of my gripe.
Right. I mean, unless it moves the story, I don't care if somebody's gay or straight or trans or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter unless it moves the story. So, again, it only slightly moves the story because it gives you, like you said, it gives you a little bit of a background into some things. Everybody had a thing, and that was his thing. So it's only relevant in that regard. But with that being said, because these adults have so very little, they gave him something, and that was just the thing they gave him.
Fair enough. So then the second twist out of the 3 twists is that we find out a little bit later before the credits roll is that Bill faked sick, and it should have been Bill that was taken by Pennywise, not Georgie. He didn't want to play with Georgie that day, and that's why he blames himself for the murder. Again, just like Bill Hader being gay, I don't need that Bill faked to be sick so he didn't play with Georgie. That was nonsense. Anybody agree?
Yeah, just more filler. Like, this movie was 40 minutes too long because of all the filler.
Ryan, what you say? Do you think that Bill faking sick, that whole thing was just nonsense?
Yeah, to a certain degree. I think, like I said, you got to give him the one thing. I feel like, his guilt over Georgie dying is what drives a lot of the emotion, a lot of I don't say the plot, but a lot of his actions in the first movie. And so to, deepen it or flip it on its head by saying he's guilty because he faked being sick is kind of dumb and pointless. But it does, the ending and the catharsis that you feel when he does kill Pennywise with that rod gun. I don't know what they're called. I think like the catharsis from that isn't deepened in any way by the revelation that he faked being sick, so he wouldn't have to play with Georgie. Because if he didn't want to play with Georgie and he fakes sick, why does he go through the trouble of building the paper boat and putting the paraffin wax on it and everything?
Exactly. I thought it was nonsense. The last twist here before we get into the end of the show is that they give a justification for suicide. That's the way I interpreted the movie. Stan kills himself when he gets a call from Mike, which we all know what was going to happen. Stan slits his wrist because he couldn't face it. But he writes a letter to all the Losers Club saying that, hey, if you guys are reading this letter, my sacrifice to put you guys all together has come true. What the fucking fuck? Really?
Yeah, I don't remember everything that's said in the voiceover at the end, but I remember sitting in the theater thinking that it was well done, and I thought it was handled well, but again, I can't remember exactly why I thought that.
The letter that he wrote to all the losers was, in layman's terms, I couldn't face Pennywise again because I remembered what happened. He wasn't supposed to, but he did.
Yeah, but it's like the ending of Stranger Things, season 3, when Hopper has that long voiceover, and you're seeing all these shots of everyone. Like the endings are like emotionally they're basically the same, but it's not necessarily the content of the letter that makes it powerful. It's like the word choice combined with the image choice that makes it like made me think that it's incredibly well done.
Ed, do you have a dog in the fight?
No, I mean, like, if I'm being completely transparent, outside of a few scares in Pennywise, right? Like that letter was just among the 100 other reasons why this movie just falls flat for me. Like it's everything about this movie on so many levels outside of Pennywise and the Losers Club is so irrelevant. It's not even funny. Like we touched on at the very beginning of the show that you gave a guy who had one flash in the pan for the first movie free reign, and he fell off the horse because he tried to go too fast. It's just the movie for me because of like, and this is just one piece of that. So yeah.
Okay. Well, then let's get into our popcorn rating here real fast. Ed, we'll go with you first. What is your popcorn rating for It Chapter 2?
So I feel like I gave the bulk of my explanation just now. So I'm gonna just put it very bluntly. This is a small bag for me. Pennywise still gives me nightmares. I had a dream about Pennywise last night. No bullshit, and it woke me up twice because that's how much I'm freaked out. I wish there was more Pennywise in this movie. I wish there was more little scares like they had in the first one in this movie. Outside of that, I mean, it was well acted, but that's because the bulk of the budget went to paying high level actors to be in this movie. Outside of that, the story was just dumb. I didn't care for most of it, and I guess that's not the director's fault. That's probably Stephen King's fault. But yeah, small bag.
Ryan, what is your popcorn rating for It Chapter 2?
So I'm gonna say it's a medium bag, and I want to talk about the rating system just for a little bit. I'm not criticizing or critiquing your guys's or our particular rating system, but I'm just talking about rating systems in general and their subjectivity. We talked last time we got together before this episode. We did Ready or Not, I do believe, and Jordan got all butthurt because I gave it a large bag of popcorn. And here's the thing: I think It Too, objectively, is a better movie than Ready or Not. Subjectively, I enjoyed Ready or Not more because I did not have expectations going into it. It Chapter 2, I had a lot of expectations because I thought the first movie, now being that guy, the book is better. It is one of my favorite books of all time. It's in my top 5. I've read it 4 times. I usually only read books once or twice. The only other like massive books I've read that many times are the Harry Potter books. And so like I really enjoy the story and what Stephen King was able to do with these characters. And the first movie captures like not necessarily the exact translation, I guess, of the book, but it captures the tone and it's able to get that feeling of that nostalgia and the fear and all these things. And the second one, I was expecting roughly the same thing, because the first one, it's not a great movie, but it's very good. It's very good. And now that he has, the first one's a runaway success. I expected them. This is gonna be a huge budget because they got all these named stars in it, at least the 3 of them that everyone knows. And I figured that they were gonna let the director do what he wanted. And outside of certain decisions with characters and how things are written, and the adults don't really have much to do, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought that visually it's one of the better movies I've seen, at least I can remember seeing all year. Some of the visuals in it I fucking love. Like the leper. I love I love the design of Pennywise as with the scorpion legs. I like spider legs. I thought he looked kind of like a scorpion, but they're spider legs. I like the beginning when they're all getting the call and they're all getting together. I like the opening. I like the bits with Henry Bowers. When they're getting their totems, I liked parts of the flashbacks, but I did feel that the flashbacks, that the flashback heavy second act slowed things down, and the third act kind of, you spend like 45 minutes or so in that cave and with the strobing light, and they go through like those mental things, like where Beverly's drowning in the blood and Ben's being buried in the fort or the underground bunker and things like that. They kind of drag on. They don't. The catharsis in most of the storylines doesn't really add up. You don't really get the emotional resolution. I am happy, however, that they did not include the Audra part of it and the is it Ben? Not Ben. Beverly's husband, something Rogan. I can't remember his first name because he gets possessed. Like he comes chasing in the book, and also in the movie, he comes chasing after her, and he gets possessed by Pennywise, and he kidnaps Audra, and that's how Pennywise gets Audra. And I'm glad they did not do that because I think that's one of the worst parts of the book. But overall, I enjoyed the movie. Again, good movie, not great. Medium bag.
Medium bag. For me, I was struggling with this for the past couple of days. It was either going to be a small or a large for me, and I'll sum it up real quick. I feel this movie is a large bag of popcorn. I think it's a great movie to see. If you saw the original 1990s TV movie, this blows the part 2 out of the water. This still is a good movie. It did not meet all my expectations, but to be a continuation of part 1, I thoroughly enjoyed the living shit out of the movie. There is a lot of issues with it, but overall, I'm generally happy with it. And I can't wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and on demand because I'm going to be buying it hook, line, and sinker and studying more and learning more. I generally liked everybody in the movie, and Bill Skarsgård was absolutely great. So thank you, everybody, so much for listening to this most recent episode of Movie Guys Podcast. You can check out this episode and many episodes others, as well as movieguyspodcast.com. You can check us out on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify. Also, check us out on Podbean as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to our show here. We all appreciate it here in the Family Movie Guys. And we'll be back next week for a Rambo retrospective episode leading up to the release of Rambo Last Blood. Thank you, everybody. Ryan and Ed, thank you so much. Have a good night.